We're now done with all our pre-processing steps, and we're ready to do the main step of our analysis, which is a regression analysis. Here what we're trying to do is we're trying to see whether the signal in each voxel, this is a mass univariate test where we apply the same model to each individual voxel, is attributable to the regressors of interest in our design. So we want to see whether the signal is actually explained best by being attributable to these regressors or these conditions, and we can also try to filter out stuff like noise, stuff like any signal due to motion. All right, that's the whole idea behind this 3D deconvolve step. First, the input, this wildcard just means grab every run that we had. So we have 3 runs, so it'll grab run 1, run 2, and run 3, the scaled data sets. It includes a third order polynomial. Remember, we increase this as the number of time points increases, just to try to model any further complexities in the drift of signal over time. NumStimTS, that is the number of timing files that we have. We have 8 total. We have 2 which are stimuli of interest. Okay, so one is audiovisual, where the visual is reliable, and one is where the auditory is reliable. If you recall, those text files just had the times where we had either the visual or the auditory stimuli present. And then these labels tell you what to call them when they're output into the statistical data set. These next 6 files are all motion files, so we want to see if the motion is correlated with the signal. If it is, we want it to load onto that and not these regressors of interest. Volume registration doesn't do a perfect job of motion correction, and more importantly, it doesn't remove all the effects of motion on the signal itself. So here's where we're trying to be safe, and even though we're losing a few degrees of freedom, we're also trying to mop up any excess, essentially variance of no interest associated with motion. This GLT sim right here, this is just a basic contrast, visual reliable, and we're subtracting auditory reliable from that. So we're assigning a weight of -1 to A-rel and a +1 to V-rel. The GLT label is going to be V minus A. This is what it's going to look like in our statistical data set. These last few are what we're actually going to output. So first of all, we're going to have, I'm going to work backwards a little bit. In this bucket, that's the actual statistical data set, and with all the stuff in it. So all the stim files and everything is going to be output into that, along with some beta estimates. AirTS, that's the airtime series, so everything that did not really fit the model. This is the fitted time series, so as well of a fit as possible. And the airtime series is just the input data minus the fit time series. Fout and Tout, that means output in addition to the beta weights, both the F statistics and the T statistics. Those are going to be separate maps that we can load in our statistical data set. X1D and XJPEG are just 2 different ways of visualizing the X matrix, which we'll talk about in the next tutorial.